What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Marshall Green, and you're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. And in today's show, I want to take a look at the future, the 2023 free agency class. We'll run through free agency targets at just about every position for the Giants because they have a lot of needs, but they also have a lot of cap space to spend. And the Giants right now, according to the projections by Over the Cap, the best site on the world to stay up with cap situations, the Giants are projected to have $54 million in cap space, which would be the fourth most in the NFL. But that number could change by going less or more, because if Daniel Jones plays good, you're probably going to have to franchise tag him. You can also cut Leonard Williams and Kenny Golladay and save a lot of money. The biggest needs for the Giants, in my opinion, are corner, wide receiver, center, inside linebacker, tight end, and maybe quarterback. If Daniel Jones doesn't play well, you may look to free agency and replace him. I think the Giants would go towards the draft or making a trade, but we have a new GM that we've only spent one offseason before with him, so we're not sure exactly who or where the Giants will look to, replace Daniel Jones. But let's look first off at some free agency quarterbacks, guys to keep in mind. These are guys that are going to be available and probably the best at the position. Lamar Jackson, we know he's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He won an MVP. Him and Baltimore aren't exactly close on a contract extension, so maybe he could hit free agency. Jimmy Garoppolo will be a free agent, whether he plays with San Fran this year or another team next year. Tom Brady, he's going to be a free agent, but I don't see any of these guys being signed by the Giants. Baker Mayfield or Teddy Bridgewater. At the end of the day, if Daniel Jones struggles, the Giants are going to be looking towards the draft or to go and make a trade. I think the Giants, if Daniel Jones struggle, will probably have a top 20 pick in the NFL draft. So they'll be in a good position to either stick and pick or trade up and go get a guy like they want. Maybe C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or mayonnaise boy Will Levis. Something's going to happen next year. It's either going to be a Daniel Jones franchise tag and extension, or Daniel Jones get kicked to the curb and they go make a trade for a quarterback, or they go out. Yes, they could sign one in free agency, but if I had to bet today, they replace him in the NFL draft. Whatever way they replace him, I want you to answer this question. Who do you want to be the Giants quarterback in 2023? Is it one of those guys we showed early on in the video? Is it someone in the NFL draft? Is it someone we haven't talked about? Fill me in. I'll be down in the comment section reading all of your answers. So let me know, who do you want to be the Giants QB in 2023? On to the running backs, because as we all know, Saquon Barkley is in the last year of his rookie contract. And who knows if the Giants, as a team, and the way that they're building their team with future cap flexibility, are willing to allocate a lot of money to the running back position. And there's some good ones out there. Kareem Hunt, he's 27, 28 years old, a hard runner, while also being a good player in the receiving game. He offers a lot of flexibility at the running back spot. I like him. Tony Pollard's going to be a free agent. He could be a guy that the Giants could look at, come over from Dallas, steal him away from there. Josh Jacobs can also be a free agent, as well as Miles Sanders. If you're willing to or wanting to replace Saquon Barkley in free agency, it could be one of these guys. But in my opinion, if Saquon walks, I could see the Giants replacing him in the NFL draft. But if Saquon plays well, I'm in the camp of giving him a contract extension, just nothing close to what Ezekiel Elliott got. Wide receivers, the next position we're going to look at. DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, and Terry McLaurin. Those are the top three guys at the position. Those guys are all going to want about $25 to $30 million per year. That's a lot of cheddar. Then there's two guys that I think would fit this Giants offense. Mecole Hardman, for sure. He played with Kafka in Kansas City. He could come over and be a spark plug and a speed guy to go along with Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson. And Deontay Johnson is a name to monitor this year. With Big Ben out, I'm expecting Johnson to have a huge year. He played really good last year, but with someone that can throw the ball down the field a little bit more, whether it's Pickett or Mitchell Trubisky, I think Johnson could be in line to have a really good season. But when you look at the top three guys, McLaurin, Metcalf, and Samuel, and what they did in 2021, their stats are kind of similar. They have 77 catches or 75 catches. The yards differ. McLaurin had 1,000, DK right under 1,000, Deebo at 1,400. He's also had a lot of touches at the running back spot, had rushing touchdowns and rushing yards, 5 TDs for McLaurin, 12 for DK, and 6 for Deebo Samuel. Honestly, if I had to choose between those three guys or power rank them, I would go DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, and then Deebo Samuel. I think Deebo might have the most talent out of all of those guys, but I'm concerned a little bit about the way he plays and the carries and hits he takes, about how long he's going to be able to play in the NFL. If Terry McLaurin can do what he's done with the long list of terrible QBs he's had, we know he's the real deal, and DK Metcalf is DK Metcalf. We know he's a badass. But when you look at this Giants wide receiver depth chart, Golladay, if he doesn't play well this year, he will be cut. I guarantee you that. Sterling Shepard, he's in the last year of his deal. Darius Slayton's probably not going to make this team. All the names you see under Golladay, Shepard, Toney, and Robinson probably won't be back on the Giants next year. So that leaves you with Toney and Robinson as the only guys that will probably be returning unless Golladay plays really good. So you're going to have to go out and get a good wide receiver, and you're going to have the money to do so. So maybe you can go out and sign a big dog like Deebo Samuel or DK Metcalf, or go out and get Terry McLaurin. There's a lot of good receivers this upcoming cycle, but those are the top 3 guys. So pick one to sign if these guys were available next year in free agency. Type 19 for Deebo Samuel, type 14 for DK Metcalf, or you can go down in the comment section and type 17 if you think Terry McLaurin's the guy. If you haven't yet, go down right now and hit that big red button, because here at Giants Now, we're putting out videos every single day. So make sure you go down, hit that big red button, join us, become one of the Giants followers, and join the family. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I got it, Harrison. Make sure you hit that big red button. Become one of the people that watch videos every single day here. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Now let's look at some free agent safeties. Derwin James, he's the number 1 guy on my list. If the Giants want to pair one of the best safeties in the NFL with Xavier McKinney, Derwin James would be a great piece. Him in a Don Wink Martindale system would be electric. He could use him in a multitude of ways. Derwin can cover like a corner. He can rush like a pass rusher. He can be one of the better in-the-box safeties in the NFL. Jesse Bates is also a really good safety from Cincinnati. I'd be down with him. Jordan Poyer is the oldest guy on the list, but he has ties to Joe Schoen. He's played with Buffalo the past couple of years. And then Adrian Amos. I have a man crush on Amos just because of the type of player he is. He can play strong safety. He can play free safety. He reminds me a lot of Xavier McKinney. He's a do-it-all safety. I think Amos is a little bit faster and athletic, but I'd be down with any of these guys to be signed by the New York Giants next year. We all know cornerback is a weak spot for the Giants right now. And it's going to be going into the 2023 offseason unless Aaron Robinson shows that he can be a legit number 2 corner in the NFL alongside Adoree Jackson. But if he doesn't, and maybe he still plays good, the Giants are going to want to keep him, obviously, because he's a 3rd-round pick only entering year 2. Maybe he slides back into the slot in his more natural position, and you go out and spend the big bucks on Byron Murphy or Marcus Peters. I think those are the best 2 corners available in this free agency class. I also like Rock Ya-Sin, the youngest player on this list, got traded from the Indianapolis Colts to the Las Vegas Raiders this offseason. A physical corner that likes to get his hands on players. I think he would fit as well. And I like Jamel Dean as well from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he's gotten better every single year in the NFL, and I think he would fit good in this system. But let's focus on Marcus Peters for a second, because we know he has the ties to Don Wink Martindale. I'm a little bit more cautious when it comes to Peters, because he just tore his ACL. He's going to be 30 years old, and as a corner, once you pass 30 and you have a torn ACL, it gets a little bit tricky out there on the island. But I'll leave this up to you, Giants fans. Would you sign Marcus Peters in NFL free agency? Type S for sign, or you can go down and type P for pass. If you love the NBA and you're looking for a place besides NBA TV or ESPN to watch every single pick of the NBA draft be announced, join us and join me as I'll be talking about the Knicks during the NBA draft at youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. We'll be going live a couple hours before the draft on Thursday, so join us. Let's party. We'll be taking shots. We'll be drinking liquor. We'll be having a good time. Let's party. Watch the NBA draft with us, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. The only spot on the offensive line that I could see the Giants going out and making a move for next offseason would be center. Because at the left guard spot, or at the guard spot, you just selected a player in the 3rd round and in the 4th round of the NFL draft. So you don't really need to go out and spend big money at the guard spot. But the center spot is a position that's still a position of need. John Feliciano, I'm not sure he's the guy. He's going to have a chance to prove himself for sure. But when you would talk about the guys that I just had on screen, all of them are good players. But at the end of the day, I think Eric McCoy is the best out of all of them. I like Connor McGovern a lot, and I would say Bradley Bozeman is the third option out of these guys. McCoy or McGovern are probably the best two centers in free agency. So I think those are the guys the Giants would target if they're looking to add a center in free agency. We also know the position of linebacker could be a position of need. Blake Martinez is on the last year of his deal. He's coming off a torn ACL. He's getting older, so they may have to replace him. Maybe Tay Crowder doesn't prove this year that he can be a legit linebacker too, alongside Martinez. Maybe you want to go out, Joe Schoen, and sign Tremaine Edmonds, the player that you drafted in the first round with the Buffalo Bills. Maybe you want to take a chance or a flyer on Devin Bush, who was a first-round pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, looked really good in his first year, and then struggled the next 2 years to stay healthy. Maybe you think if he puts it all together and gets healthy, he could be great for the New York Giants. Or maybe you wanted to get a veteran that costs a little bit less money and is more like Blake Martinez. Anthony Walker plays for the Cleveland Browns, a solid inside linebacker. I'd be cool if any of these guys got signed by the Giants next offseason. Another position of need is the Titans. Not the Titans, excuse me, the tight ends. Yes, the tight ends. I would love for Daniel Bellinger to take a step this year in his rookie season and say, you know what, Marshall, we don't need a tight end. You shouldn't even have done this a part of your show. I'd be happy if that happens. But if guys that you could look at to replace him or become the Giants' long-term starting tight end, Mike Gesicki, Dalton Schultz. I think Dawson Knox is a really interesting name to watch because we know he has ties to Shane and Dable. I like Irv Smith a lot, a really athletic tight end, had some injury issues, but I feel like once he puts it all together, and I feel like we've talked about this before with Evan Ingram, I feel like Irv Smith could be a really good player, and Foster Moreau will probably be the most bang for your buck tight end on this list. Those are 5 guys I can see the Giants looking at, but we'll end the segment with this question. What is the biggest need for the Giants going forward into the draft, into free agency next offseason? I know we still have a season to go through, and there's more free agency targets that'll pop up because some people are going to have big years that we aren't expecting, but I'll ask you this question. What is the biggest need for the Giants going forward?